This being the further readings of METAHUMAN by Deepak Chopra, MD. Welcome to the House of Illusions. While participating in the everyday world, it isn't possible to see beyond the illusion. Going beyond is needed, which is why the shift to metahuman is needed. The only way an illusion can be all-encompassing is if everything about it is deceptive, fooling us about the big things and the little things alike. That's the case here. The human mind has constructed everything to suit itself from the ground up. In a sense, this book was written simply to convince you that your personal reality is totally mind-made, and not just by your mind alone. Having spent a lifetime adapting to the artificial reality you inherited as a child, you have to undertake a journey to discover the difference between the reality and the illusion. To anyone who accepts the physical world out there as totally real, the notion of a mind-made world seems absurd. It's one thing to be struck by an idea, but quite another to be struck by lightning. The difference is so obvious that you distrust anyone who told you that the two events were the same. But some of the greatest minds have said just that. This is where the real fascination begins. Max Planck, a brilliant German physicist, was a major figure in the quantum revolution. In fact, he coined the term quantum mechanics. In a 1931 interview with the Observer newspaper in London, Planck said, "I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness. In other words, consciousness is fundamental. If that's true, then roses blooming in an English garden spring from the same source as a painting of a rose. That source is awareness, meaning your awareness. Without consciousness, nothing can be proven to exist. Simply by being conscious, you participate in the mind-made world and help create it every day. The beauty of this understanding is that if creation springs from consciousness, we can reshape reality from its source." Planck was not alone in his reinterpretation of reality, away from the physical toward the mental. The whole drift of the quantum revolution was to dismantle the common sense view that the world is first and foremost material, solid, and tangible. Another brilliant quantum pioneer, the German physicist Werner Heisenberg, said, "What we observe is not nature itself, but nature exposed to our method of questioning." The implications of this statement are astonishing. Gaze out your window and you might see a tree, a cloud, a swath of grass, or the sky. Plug in any of those words into Heisenberg's sentence in place of the word nature. You see a tree because you asked to see a tree. You see a mountain, a cloud, the sky for the same reason. As an observer, everything outside your window comes into being through the questions you are asking. You might not be aware of asking questions, but that's only because they were asked so early on. When toddlers spy their first tree, they test to see what it is, basically asking, is this hard or soft? Rough or smooth? tall or short? What are those green things on the branches? Why do they ripple in the breeze? In this way, by applying human consciousness to everything in the universe, we get answers that fit human consciousness. But we don't get reality. Physics dismantles every quality of a tree, its hardness, height, shape, and color, by revealing that all objects are actually invisible ripples in the quantum field. If this discussion seems too abstract, it can be brought very close to home. Your body is being created in consciousness right this minute. Otherwise, it couldn't exist. Again, Heisenberg can be credited with getting there early. The atoms, or elementary particles themselves, are not real. They form a world of potentialities or possibilities. But in the common sense world, where the body is our shelter, life support system, and personal vehicle for getting around, defending it becomes necessary. It's too disturbing to think of our body as a mental illusion. Don't be disturbed. Hit that subscribe button. Stay along for the journey for further readings of Deepak Chopra's MetaHuman, unleashing your insane, unlimited potential. As a metahuman whose personality is based upon the perennial teachings of wisdom from the ascended masters, from the higher values as brought to us by third dimensional Jesus, fourth dimensional Yeshua, and fifth dimensional Sananda, and all the ascended Galactic Federation of Light, Christed extraterrestrials that are right now in our atmosphere, aiding us all in our ascension.
Namaste. Namaskaram.